This is Perspectivas Latinas, a community service of CAN TV. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. The Coalición de Guatemaltecos del Medio Oeste works with the Guatemalan organizations here in Chicago and in areas beyond the city. Lilian and Amaya, our guest today, is here to talk about their important work and how they serve the community. Welcome.
Thank you, Juan Carlos. I'm very thankful for being here. It's a great honor for me to talk and
it's a pleasure to have you here.
To greet your audience. And we're, as you well said, we're a coalition of Guatemalan organizations. And right now, our main goal is to educate our communities, not because they are bad educated, but from other point of view, we want to educate our community in terms of informing them.
Okay.
We strongly believe that being informed is very important to succeed in life. Whether in the United States or countries, it's very important for us to be informed.
Right, definitely. How did you become part of this organization, and what keeps you working with it? Because a lot of we were speaking earlier before the show that you came here from Guatemala about 30 years ago, right? And a lot of my parents included, a lot of immigrants come and work, and what they do is, I just want to work and put food on the table. What brought you into this organization?
Well, this is basically the reason why we exist, and it's to bring information to our brothers and sisters from different countries, Latino countries, to succeed in the United States, to get into the society, to be part of this society. It's not only to come and work hard, and we're hard workers, and I'm very proud to say that. But I think it's important, to participate as part of the society as a whole, in different programs, and to be benefit about the different programs and opportunity, the opportunities that this beautiful country, this blessed country is providing for immigrants. It is important to get the information, to know how to participate, how to be part of it.
Right.
It all started with me around 1987. I'm not too old, but I was I was a mama by that time. And I remember being a volunteer in my children's school, and I noticed that they were not using the right materials, books were not updated, so I started fighting in a good way. I start asking questions, and what is the reason that we don't have new books for our children every year?
Right.
And it all started there, Since then, thank God I have the opportunity to represent my community, not only Guatemalans, but the Latino community, in the different levels. I started with the local school, then I went to the district level, and then the citywide level.
Wow. And
well, I went up to, thank God, to the nationwide level. And then we start for bilingual education. And in this issue, let me mention this, it's very important for the parents with children in the public schools to know about the dual language program. And this is a program where the children start having their classes in the language that they know.
Whether it's English or Spanish.
Either English or Spanish, or we have Russian.
Right.
There's a lot
Polish.
of different language. Polish, so they start, getting the main subjects in their language, and then they switch to English with the subjects that are important, but less, than the basic, like math, reading, and that kind of stuff. So I encourage the parents to go and ask in that public school and say, we want the dual language program for our children. I think that will be good for them.
So parents have the right to ask for this?
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's another issue that is very important for us, to be informed about our rights and our responsibilities. There has to be a balance of that.
Right, definitely.
Yeah.
And why then and why now do you still think it's important for children especially to maintain or to develop their native language as well as English, because a lot of people would say, well, you're in the United States, English is technically not the official language, but yes, certainly the most important language here. Just stick with English.
Well, there are two things that, I think, two main points here, Juan Carlos. One is that language is part of the individual. Our children, they were born here, but we speak English, we speak Spanish, you know, and so they have the right to maintain their language. And the second one is that it's very important for them to keep it. Right now, Juan Carlos, as we talked before, you know, I mean, there's a lot of people trying to learn Spanish, not trying to learn a second language. They're trying to learn, they're trying hard, you know. A lot of parents from other different culture, different ethnic backgrounds with language other than English, they're trying hard for their children to learn Spanish. Because in this century, Juan Carlos, and this, I hear this about 15 years ago, you know, for the first time. The name of the book is Mega Trends, very good book. And they mentioned there that the 3 languages for the 21st century was going to be Spanish, English, first English, I'm sorry, I'm not in the right order. English, Spanish, and computers. And this is exactly what we're living right now, you know? So I think it's important for us to know that it's good for our children to keep their language. It's part of their identity. You know what I mean? So it's as well as the culture, you know? Our children should know, I will say, I will go further, and I will say they must know that we have history, you know? In our background, there's a rich history in fights, you know, how our Indians they fight for their rights, you know? The very rich cultures, you know, from Mexico, Guatemala, El Salvador, all the way to Argentina, you know, from here. So it's important for them to keep that. It's part of them. Otherwise, there's an emptiness in their heart, you know.
Right, because you said it's a must, and the must is because if that part doesn't exist, there's an emptiness. What does that emptiness do to an individual?
Well, you know, I'm going to put it, you know, in a very easy way to understand, I hope, you know. But we use in Spanish the say, ni de aquí ni de allá. So we're not from here, and where we come from. If we don't know our history, you know, our origins, our ancestors, you know, it's very important for us. That really enrich the human being. And then we know who we are, and we can walk on the streets and be nice with all the people, because we know that all of us have a history. You know, it's not that only this country. The history of this country is very interesting. And I really love when our children, learn about Thanksgiving, you know, the origin of Thanksgiving, how the Indians were here, the Native American Indians were here, and people came from other countries, you know, because they have fear, they were scared, something like that. And it's important for them to know how this country was, the foundation of this country is on immigration.
Well, you know? That's true. But just as important is knowing that cultural history from their own background.
Exactly.
And that is part of what you do through your organization, through, well, this coalition, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about this coalition and how they make this education and all this work a part of what they do with here in Chicago and around the Midwest.
What we're doing right now is, you know, within the coalition, we have different organizations that represent, that works with cultural issues, advocacy. We try to also inform our people in terms of organizing meetings where we bring, you know, experts, and they tell them about it, what it is, how they can succeed. We work a lot in leadership. I think forming leadership within our people, it's very important. I won't be surprised if maybe if 5, 10 years, we have a Hispanic president for this country.
That's true.
Actually, I think that's something that is cooking, you know, cooking. Right. So I won't be surprised. So I think that we can expect great things within our Latino community, but we have to be informed and we have to participate. We have to be active. So
yeah, you've said that several times now. Part of what your mission is in this coalition, certainly education, but information as well. What kind of information and how do you provide it? Who do you work with? I want to talk about that aspect of your work.
Yeah. Like right now, one thing that is coming is the celebration of El Día de la Mujer.
Okay.
Okay, the celebration for women in the United States. It's March the 8th. So on that day, we're going to get a group of women together, and we're going to bring one important person, professional, very professional. And
from Guatemala?
From Guatemala, yeah.
Okay.
We try hard to get Guatemalans to be our role models for Guatemalans, but there's not a problem if it's from other country. We're not too picky on that, you know. Yeah.
So tell me, what happens in an event like this? Is it a speech? Is it a workshop?
Yeah,
what is it?
I mean, there's speech, music, and food, you know. In our celebration, there's always food.
There has to be.
Yeah, there has to be. Yeah, and in last December, we have a posada. You know, posada is a celebration that the Hispanics, especially Mexico and, you know, some other countries, has to welcome the Jesus, you know, baby Jesus, you know, with Maria and Jose, and we receive them, and we have marimba, comida, food, and we also have at that time, we have a seminary about the executive action from President Obama, and we inform them and encourage them to do it, you know.
So it's this Christmas celebration, but you're also getting information about important things.
Yeah, that's very important for us to combine, you know. It's good to get together, to laugh. Sometimes we play different games from Guatemala, like loteria, you know, and we laugh a lot, and we tell jokes and poems, and we have karaoke. But within that environment, for us, it's important to inform our people, to tell them, have to participate, you know. You're important in here.
And how do the people respond? I mean, would they say, well, no, I don't want you to mix this up? Or I mean, that's because that's rare to see.
Yeah, yeah. But you know what, Juan Carlos, since we start doing that, we never hear a complaint about it. So people are not complaining, and if they complain, we're going to say, well, you have two choices. If you like it, it's okay, and if you don't like it, it's okay too. So your choice is to come or not to come, you know. So yeah, that's the way we're working right now.
So that's one way to give information. What else do you do to give out information?
I'm very excited about the way that we're participating in culture, in the cultural activities.
Okay, tell me
about that. And right now, the Casa de la Cultura is one of the organizations that is part of the coalition, and they participate as a Casa de la Cultura in the Thanksgiving parade. Oh,
really?
My goodness, yeah, that's really nice. That's I'm very excited about. Every year I'm expecting, you know, to be better and better, and we're getting better. But I mean, there's different ages people that are working, that are participating, either dancing or just wearing a costume, and it's very nice. It's very nice to see them involved in that activity.
So do you have a float for?
A float, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
and how many participants usually?
The ones that goes in the float is about, I will say, 20, 30 people. But, you know, behind the scene, you know, it's a lot of people involved.
For those 20 or 30, there's 150 helping put together the traditional costumes.
Yeah. Wow. Sometimes to sew the costumes, you know. So, yeah, that's something that we do. And in terms of food, we also promote a lot of, you know, our food. Guatemalan food is delicious, as well as Mexican and other countries. And
with deep history, with a very deep history.
history with that, the flavor, just No, just taste the flavor and how come it comes to my my table, you know? Wasn't easy, you know. It took people to think about it. I think that's part of the history. And we also have the marimba. I can...
Marimba, it's
an instrumental, you know.
It's a national instrument of Guatemala, right?
From Guatemala, yeah. And recently the organization, the ONU, Organization Nations.
Yeah, the United Nations.
United Nations, thank you, organization. They declare our instrument, the marimba, as a cultural treasure.
Cultural treasure?
Yeah.
Wow, for the entire world.
For the entire world.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do you have like classes for marimba? If somebody wants to learn how to play the marimba?
Yeah, we have very good teachers. I don't know. I can, you know, I can tell the audience how to where they could find a teacher or a school. But I know that we have teachers that give individual classes, provide individual classes.
So if they want to learn more about learning how to play the marimba, or participating in like the Thanksgiving parade or traditional dance, they could contact you and you would get them in touch with the right people.
Exactly, yeah, yeah. And if there's something, you know, that we don't know, we're going to ask. We have no problem asking for help, and we're going to find the information for them.
Okay, okay. And we talked about information, providing information for the Guatemalan community here, how you go about doing that, and what are some of the ways you go about doing that, and also culture, which is important. But there's also another aspect of advocacy, correct? Tell me in what areas you work and how you provide advocacy or do advocacy work on behalf of the Guatemalan community.
Yeah, although we are a coalition of Guatemalan organizations, we serve anyone, you know, it's no distinction. But in terms of legality, I will say that this is advice. This is not something that we say you have to do this or that. We just provide advice, you know.
Okay.
And if they need a lawyer, we can help them, you know, finding a lawyer, honest, you know.
Right.
And also we work with the consulate, the Guatemalan consulate in Chicago.
Okay.
Through the consulate, we serve 9 states.
9 states.
9 states in the United States, yeah.
Wow. And those states are what? Illinois, obviously.
Illinois, Missouri, Michigan, all the way to Minnesota.
Indiana,
yeah.
Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Wow, wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
So do you, when you've worked with the Guatemalan consulate here in Chicago, have you gone to some of this work they're doing out there, or do people always have to come to Chicago?
In the past, that was the only way. But right now, they did a very good job in our government, basically, in terms of taking mobile meetings to the different states. But we still have one in Chicago, and that's the first Saturday of the month. And then people from any of those 9 states can come and apply for a passport, ID, you know, whatever they need. They could come and to the consulate.
Wow, that's quite a drive for some people. I'm sure that it's become better with you. I mean, better service, I guess, with sending people out to like Minnesota. That's happened, right? Now that they have that. What is it? What would you call it? I know for Mexicans it's consulado móvil.
It's like a mobile, I will call meetings. I don't know exactly how to call it. I'm sorry, I have to be honest.
No,
but basically we take the people, the consulate coordinate a program to bring it to Minnesota, for example. And they have a personnel from the consulate, they go and work with people over there. So they don't have to come all the way here.
Okay.
And I would like to mention that in Minnesota we have incredible people. There are a lot of Guatemalan professionals. I was shocked when I get this information, but it's very interesting how the Guatemalan community in Minnesota is working.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And just to be clear, and I think you mentioned this before, you don't work on behalf of any political parties or anything like that when you're working with the consulate, right?
Right. And we try to avoid, you know, we're not perfect, but we're trying hard to avoid to get involved in with any political party. Now, we have to work with politicians.
Right.
You know, they are legislators, so they work on, you know, making laws and bills for our people. So we have to work with them. But it's not necessary that we are in very, you know, in a specific political party in Guatemala.
Okay. Yeah. And talking about working with the consulate, you also, and working with the government of Guatemala, you also have ties and work with the government in Guatemala, right, to work on behalf of the immigrant community here.
Yeah, and I think you're right, and I think that's a very important point. I think that at this moment, one of the things that we're fighting for is that as a Guatemalan immigrant community in the United States, we want to be an active participant within the Guatemalan government. You know, we don't want to. We're not trying to go and make decisions for our people, but we really want to get, you know, to take part on it. You know, we don't want to be fighting here in the United States for the rights of our immigrant Guatemalan brothers and sisters, or I would say in general, and then go back to Guatemala and find a double standard, you know, that the immigrants that are in transit, you know, in Guatemala, they are mistreated, you know, any of those things. I don't really like talking about that, but we want to make sure that immigrants will be well treated in any country.
Right.
You know, they have to be respected. They have to. I mean, they are human beings.
Right.
So whatever we want for us, we should, you know, want it for them too.
Wow. That's very important to say. Now, we're getting close to the end of the show here. I want us to talk about President Obama's executive action and what that means for the Guatemalan community, excuse me. Who qualifies, who doesn't, what should I start thinking about, gathering up? Tell me about that, please. Okay,
there are two executive action. One is the one for the Dreamers, which is a short name DACA, and then the other one for the adults, for the parents, that is called DAPA, for their initials, and both are good. I really encourage people to participate. Don't let anything or anybody stop you from participating. If you feel that you have to participate, just do it. You know, the worst thing that can happen is that at the end you will find that you don't qualify. But that's, I mean, you try at least. And what you need is your birth certificate, you know, from your country, Guatemala, Mexico, other countries. And you, as parents, you have to be children that were born here, and also to be living here for the last 5 years. 5 years. Yeah, at least 5 years. Yeah, and then you go and look for. There are a lot of community organizations that are helping right now. We're one of them. We're expecting the application to come out, and then we want to be helping people to fill the application. They know that they have to pay a fee for the application, but I think that it's about $460. That's the price that is, you know, $460 right $460 per person. And also just make sure that if you fill, because if you have pending issues with the law, then you're gonna need a lawyer. But make sure that it's a good lawyer. But don't give them any money before, you know, you talk with them. You make sure that it's an honest professional that you will work with. Right,
because, and if I have questions about finding a good, honest lawyer, I can come to you.
Yeah, we can help in that way too. Yeah, the consulates. Yeah, you just visit your consulate, call your consulate, and say, I need legal advice in order to fill my application for DACA or DAPA.
And there should be no charge for filling out the application, right?
No, but some organizations, they ask for like small donation.
Oh, they ask for donations.
Yeah, because for copies, for paper.
Right, right. That
know,
makes sense.
Which makes sense, but it's a small amount of money. And when it's a donation, you have the right to say, I can give you 30, but I could give you 20. Right. And one last thing, Juan Carlos, that I didn't say it in Spanish, but I think it's fair for the people who speak English to hear. The executive action from President Obama, that will not solve the problems for our immigrants. You know,
it just helps some people. It helps some people, right?
Some people, and not only that. But let me give you an example with the driver's license issue. It was a fight,
right?
But now they have a driver's license. But yesterday in the news, I hear that in order to go into a trip to take an airplane, you know, they're gonna have to have a passport. So, you know, with one hand, they're giving us something that relieves our problems, but with the other hands, you know, and I'm just saying this in English because it's kind of negative, and this is a very personal thought. It's not the coalition saying that, but personally, I feel that, yeah, this help comes for us, and hallelujah, que bueno. You know? But on the other side, there's going to be a problem.
So there's a continuing fight for justice.
And finally, the fight for justice for immigrants, I think will end in a way with an holistic immigration reform. That's the only way we're gonna feel that relief, you know, that will help people and will help us too.
Well, that's a good note to end on. Let's hope that it comes and that we don't give up in this fight.
Oh yeah, no way.
Thank you so much for coming today.
Thank you. It's a blessing.
And to you, thank you for joining us. Perspectivas Latinas is a community service of CAN TV. If your nonprofit organization would like to work with CAN TV, call 312-738-1400 and ask for nonprofit services. Tune in to Perspectivas Latinas for local issues and concerns every Thursday at 8:30 p.m. on CAN TV 21. I'm Juan Carlos Hernandez. Thank you for joining us.